With Christopher Scholtes pleading guilty to second-degree murder just days before his trial was set to begin, I wanted to bring everything together in one place. This video includes the full story of what happened, the key updates you might have missed, and the details of the plea deal reached just before trial. Whether you've followed this case since the beginning or you're just now catching up, this episode has everything we know so far. I'm Amanda, and this is Their Voice Matters. Let's start from the beginning. It was July in Tucson, Arizona, a place where the summer heat isn't just uncomfortable, it's deadly. Temperatures regularly soar well above 100 degrees Fahrenheit, turning parked cars into ovens within minutes. Everyone who lives here knows this. Everyone. 2-year-old Parker Scholtes had her whole life ahead of her. Her mother described her as perfect, a joyful toddler full of innocence and curiosity, completely trusting of the adults in her world to keep her safe. But on July 9th, 2024, Parker's father, Christopher Scholtes, made choices that defy understanding. He would later claim it was all a terrible accident, just a simple mistake that any parent could make. But surveillance footage told a very different story. As the truth unraveled, it became clear that this wasn't just a case of tragic forgetfulness. It was negligence so profound that it bordered on cruelty. This is Parker's story. It's about what really happened that day, the lies uncovered by detectives, and why it matters that we never lose sight of who we're truly here for, a little girl who deserved so much better. Hi, I'm Amanda, and this is Their Voice Matters, where we discuss true crime stories with compassion and care. My goal is to amplify the voices of those who can no longer speak for themselves and explore the deeper questions their cases raise. 2-year-old Parker Scholtes lived in Marana, Arizona, a suburban community just northwest of Tucson. She shared her home with her parents, Chris and Erica, as well as her 2 older sisters, ages 5 and 9. Parker's mother, Erica, worked as an anesthesiologist at Banner University Medical Center, while her father, Chris, was primarily responsible for caring for Parker and her sisters. Before we get into the full timeline, if you find these stories important, please take a moment to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, or follow and give a rating if you're listening to the podcast. It helps more than you know. On July 9th, 2024, it was another scorching Tuesday in Marana, Arizona, with temperatures already approaching triple digits before noon. Erica Scholtes headed off to her job as an anesthesiologist, while the 2 older daughters went to a trampoline park with their neighbors. 2-year-old Parker stayed home with her father, Chris. According to Chris, that afternoon, he put Parker in the family's 2023 Acura MDX SUV, planning to run a few errands. He'd struggled to reach his doctor's office by phone, so he decided he would just drive down there to make an appointment in person. He said that Parker fell asleep in the car during their trip. He claimed they got home around 2:30 p.m. Rather than park in the garage, Chris parked in the driveway, saying that the garage was partially blocked by a recently purchased Peloton bike. Not wanting to wake Parker, he left her in the SUV with the air conditioning running. Chris said that the older girls arrived home from their outing shortly after, and then they were mostly in their room on their iPads. Chris said he went about doing normal household chores, putting away groceries, and then playing some video games. He described it as a lounge around the house day. We would later find out that he was also scrolling on his phone, doing some online shopping, and looking at adult content. Erica returned home from work around 4 p.m. The older girls came to greet her, but Parker didn't. Erica asked Chris, "Where's Parker?" Chris first told her that he thought she was sleeping or maybe playing in another room. They all searched the house. When they couldn't find her inside, Chris went outside and discovered Parker still in the SUV. She was unresponsive. Erica immediately began CPR, trying to revive her, and Chris frantically dialed 911. Paramedics arrived within minutes. Erica rode with Parker in the ambulance to the hospital. Parker was pronounced dead on arrival. Chris stayed at the house to speak with officers. Body cam footage captured a range of emotions from Chris, from panicked cries to seemingly calm moments. Initially, Chris told investigators that Parker had only been in the car for 30, maybe 45 minutes. He explained that his vehicle had an automatic shutoff feature, saying, quote, "She was sleeping in the car and I had the car on, but it has a sensor where every 30 minutes or so it'll turn off if you haven't moved." Later, he contradicted himself, saying, quote, "I swore she was in the house playing with her sisters like she always does." This confused investigators. How could she possibly be in the house playing with her sisters if he had left her asleep in the car? When asked what he was doing after they arrived home from their outing, he said he was doing laundry, vacuuming, watching The Office, and drinking a Dr. Pepper. He insisted, quote, "We never do this anywhere, but I'm home, right? Like, you're home, you're safe, like, your kids are home." Police outside the home noticed how the vehicle had been parked directly in the sun. Even with the AC on briefly, they said it would have been nowhere near enough to keep the car cool in 109-degree heat. Back inside, Chris unexpectedly walked away from officers in the living room and into the master bathroom. When officers followed, saying that they needed to stay with him, he seemed confused. He asked, "Is there a reason why?" The officer gently explained, quote, "Any death, we have to treat it like a crime scene." Chris grew agitated and emotional. "So I'm being treated like a murderer?" he asked. He said, quote, "My whole family is going to be ruined." He tried to take a shower, saying, quote, "I'm rinsing off so I can go to the hospital to be with my wife." Officers calmly told him that he wouldn't be allowed to take a shower during an active investigation. Chris continued to go over what he claimed happened that day. He said the girls got home around 2:30 p.m., and at that time, the car was still running. He said that he had assumed Parker had come inside and that she was in the toy room or playing with her sisters. But when Erica came home and Parker didn't greet her, he joined in the search, finally checking the SUV where they found her. When asked if leaving the kids in the car was something he'd done before, Chris said no, that the older girls were usually good about reminding him, "Dad, get the baby." As investigators began piecing together the day's events, multiple holes quickly emerged in Chris's version of the timeline. Security footage from a neighbor showed that Chris had returned home at 12:52 p.m., not 2:30 as he had claimed. That's over an hour and a half earlier than he said. Their neighbor confirmed that she had dropped off the two older girls around 1:15 p.m., further supporting the earlier timeline. And that wasn't the only inconsistency. Footage from local businesses revealed details that Chris hadn't initially disclosed to investigators. Surveillance footage from a Quick Trip convenience store showed Chris pulling into the parking lot at 12:06 p.m. He entered the store alone at 12:07 and grabbed 3 cans of beer. He spent 2 minutes in the restroom and emerged with only 1 can of beer. Then he left through an exit by the restroom without paying. We don't know exactly what happened to those other 2 cans of beer. At 12:12 p.m., his vehicle was seen briefly stopping in front of a building in a medical complex, but not the building where the doctor's office he mentioned was located. He paused for about 5 seconds before leaving. At 12:40 p.m., Chris was seen at Bosch's grocery store. Again, he entered alone and purchased some groceries at self-checkout, and he left at 12:47 p.m. But again, security footage caught him taking 2 cans of an unknown substance and leaving without paying for them. At 12:52 p.m., a neighbor's surveillance system showed Chris arriving home and entering the house. Parker remained in the car. The footage clearly showed that Chris never came out to check on Parker after they arrived home. She would stay there, in the blistering Arizona heat, for 3 more hours. The family's Acura MDX featured a safety function that would turn off the car's engine after approximately 20 to 25 minutes if the vehicle remained stationary, a feature both Chris and Erica were well aware of. They both admitted knowing about this feature. Investigators tested the timing. With the vehicle locked and the fob removed, the engine shut off at 24 minutes. When the fob was left inside, the engine shut off after 20 minutes. When the fob was removed but the car was left unlocked, it shut off after 20 minutes. They also tested the temperature inside the car. The internal temperature of the car left in 109 degrees Fahrenheit or 43 degrees Celsius heat was recorded as, after 1 minute, 102 degrees Fahrenheit or 39 degrees Celsius. After 20 minutes, 126 degrees Fahrenheit or 52 degrees Celsius. After 60 minutes, 137 degrees Fahrenheit or 58 degrees Celsius. The surface temperatures after 1 hour were recorded at the passenger seat, 137.8 degrees Fahrenheit or 58 degrees Celsius. The center console, 141.4 degrees Fahrenheit or 60 degrees Celsius. Parker's car seat, 149.1 degrees Fahrenheit or 65 degrees Celsius. The dashboard was 185 degrees Fahrenheit or 85 degrees Celsius. The Pima County Medical Examiner determined Parker's body temperature had risen to 108.9 degrees Fahrenheit or 43 degrees Celsius. The cause of death was heat exhaustion. During their investigation, police reviewed messages sent between Chris and Erica after Parker's emergency transport. These heartbreaking texts revealed that Erica had previously warned Chris against leaving the children unattended in the car. Erica, I told you to stop leaving them in the car. How many times have I told you? Chris, babe, I'm sorry. Oh my God, I can't believe this. Erica, we've lost her. She was perfect. Chris, I killed our baby. This can't be real. As investigators continued digging into what happened that day, it quickly became apparent that this was not a tragic one-time mistake. It was the latest in a series of dangerous behaviors that had gone unaddressed for years. Chris Scholtes had allegedly left his children in the car on many occasions. According to several witnesses, including his own children, it was something he did often, almost habitually, sometimes using the car as a kind of babysitter. The two older Scholtes girls, aged 5 and 9 at the time, both said that they had been left in the car, sometimes having to yell to get Chris's attention while he was inside the house. One of them told investigators that Erica would get angry with Chris for, quote, drinking too much beer. One of the girls said bluntly, quote, he still drinks too much beer, and he keeps leaving us in the car when my mom told him to stop doing this. That's how he made my baby sister die. As someone who grew up in the desert heat near Las Vegas, where summer temperatures are nearly identical to Tucson, I can tell you, it only takes minutes for a car to become deadly. Anyone who has even spent one afternoon in heat like this knows this. That's what makes this so unforgivable. This wasn't ignorance. It was disregard. Texts between Chris and Erica earlier in 2024 show that she had serious concerns about his behavior. On March 11th, 2024, Erica texted Chris, quote, you haven't shown me you can stop putting the girls in danger or not treat me badly. Even yesterday, you drove home drunk with 2 minors. You drink to excess every time. You can never have just one. I've been asking for 3 years to cut back, and it's actually gotten worse. Chris replied, quote, I'm a piece of addict and I need to get addicted to healthy things like running again. Just 10 days later, on March 21st, Erica texted again, quote, why were you doing 138 with our baby in the car, with alcohol in your system? Chris's response, you hate me. She was sleeping. It's fine. Erica pushed back. She was sleeping? It's fine? What does her sleeping mean? She is physically in the car. If you got pulled over or in an accident, she is still in the car. Stop saying you hate me when you keep making bad decisions. Chris also has a 16-year-old daughter from a previous relationship. She told investigators that, while heartbreaking, Parker's death didn't come as a surprise. What shocked her most was that it didn't happen sooner. Before we go further, I want to give a quick disclaimer that we're going to briefly talk about physical harm towards children and attempting to take one's own life. So please skip ahead if needed. Chris's daughter described a childhood of neglect, saying he routinely left her in the car for hours. At one point, she says she had sat in a car for 4 to 5 hours, having only eaten once that day, needing to continually restart the engine of the car. She has type 1 diabetes, which made this situation even more dangerous. She explained that she didn't even know Chris until she was 5 years old. Once he found out she existed, he fought for custody and won. She didn't want to live with him, but it wasn't up to her. Over the 4 years that she lived at the Scholtes household, she says that she endured physical abuse, being slapped, thrown, having her hair pulled, having her head pushed into walls, and being lifted by her shirt or arm. At just 6 years old, she was found alone on the street at 2 a.m. and was taken to the police station where her mother had to pick her up. She also said that she once called police because she was afraid that Chris would hit her after she lost some money. In 2021, she attempted to take her own life, and she was then allowed to return to live with her mother. Sadly, her mother passed away in May 2024, and she is now living with a family friend. She told reporters, quote, "If they would have taken away my little sisters when I was taken away, none of this would have happened. I haven't been eating. I haven't been sleeping. All I think about is how my father's walking free right now." People around the Scholtes family noticed issues too. Some neighbors told police that they had long been concerned about the children's safety. They described frequent instances of the girls wandering the neighborhood unsupervised, sometimes while Chris was allegedly napping. One neighbor reported that one of the girls walked alone around the block and knocked on a neighbor's door. One Halloween, one of the girls reportedly went missing for a time before later being found. Another neighbor once found a young Scholtes girl, still in a diaper, standing alone outside her front door. Neighbors told police that they had organized informal search parties on multiple occasions for children or animals who had gotten out of the house. One neighbor said, quote, "Because of the history of him being so flippant about his children, and I mean, careless is a really good word, many of us have said things like, 'This is devastating and not surprising.'" Another called police after Parker's death because they felt it was important to document this as part of a clear pattern of negligence. They emphasized, quote, "This was 100% avoidable. It was not a simple, oopsie, this never happens kind of thing." Also, in 2019, a woman reportedly called police after seeing the Scholtes girls alone in a vehicle for over 15 minutes. She waited by the car out of concern before calling. Police eventually allowed Chris to leave with his children. After Parker's death, her 5- and 9-year-old sisters were interviewed by police. The 5-year-old began by saying, quote, "My baby sister died yesterday. Dad accidentally left her in the car. Mom tried to do CPR but didn't know Parker was already dead." She also shared that her parents had told her to tell police that it was an accident and that Chris is a good dad. She described how Chris had gotten distracted by putting food away and playing his games. She explained that the heat from outside and the car had entered Parker's body too fast, and that's how she died. She remembered being left in the car before, quote, 59 times. On one occasion, she said that she had to yell, "Daddy, Daddy," to get his attention after he had left her in the car and was inside playing video games. She added, quote, "My mom told him to stop leaving us in the car, but he left my baby sister in the car." The 9-year-old initially defended her dad, saying, quote, "My dad's actually innocent." She recalled that he brought groceries in and then thought that Parker had come inside with them. She said that Chris later told her that he turned off the car because he thought Parker was already inside the house. When asked how she knew that, she said, quote, "Because he told me the story of how she died." She added, quote, "If I knew she was in the car, I would have taken her out, but I didn't know." According to surveillance footage from the neighbor's house, Chris was never seen outside checking on Parker. Despite the extensive evidence, police didn't immediately arrest Chris. But just 3 days after Parker's death, the investigation reached a turning point. On July 12th, 2024, officers arrived at the Scholtes home to arrest Chris. The scene was emotional and chaotic. Body camera footage shows Chris falling to his knees and saying, "Oh my God," and repeating "no" over and over, all while Erica embraced him from behind. Through tears, he told the officers, quote, "You haven't heard the story. Officers calmly explained what was going to happen, but Chris remained on the ground. Erica pleaded with them to let him say goodbye to their children and asked if he would be allowed to attend Parker's funeral. Chris said, quote, "Don't make them lose their father." Chris's mother asked, quote, "Can't this wait until after the funeral?" One officer replied, quote, "I don't want the kids to see Dad get hauled off." Chris's mother grew visibly upset and began shouting at officers, quote, "You have no heart. The funeral is this Friday. No heart. No heart at all." Chris was arrested and initially charged with second-degree murder. At his first court appearance, Erica spoke on his behalf, asking the judge to allow him to come home. "I'm just asking if you can allow him to come home to us so that we can all start the grieving process, so he can bury our daughter with us this coming week, and that we can go through this whole process together as a family." She said, quote, "This was a big mistake. It doesn't represent him. I just want the girls to see their father, that I don't have to tell them tonight that they're going to have to endure another loss." Chris was released without having to post bond. He was granted supervised contact with his children while he awaits trial. Erica took an extended leave from work after Parker's death. Later, a grand jury upgraded the charges to include first-degree murder and child abuse. The charge was elevated under Arizona's felony murder rule, which allows for a first-degree murder charge if a death occurs during the commission of another felony, such as child abuse, even if the intent to kill wasn't present. If convicted, Chris could be sentenced to life in prison. His eldest daughter, who previously shared her experience of alleged abuse and neglect, has stated that she will testify against him in trial if needed. The trial is currently scheduled for October 2025. Chris has pled not guilty to all charges. I'll be following this case closely as it moves toward trial, and I'll post updates as soon as there's more to share. If you want to stay informed when that happens, be sure to subscribe or follow so you don't miss it. In May 2025, controversy sparked when Chris was granted permission to travel with his family to Hawaii for vacation, despite the objections of the prosecutor. While this case has deeply shaken the community and everyone who hears about it, it's tragically far from unique. Each year, dozens of children die from being left in hot cars, and most of those deaths are preventable. To fully understand the broader context of what happened to Parker, we need to look at the risks, patterns, and statistics surrounding hot car deaths in the US. Many people underestimate how quickly a car can become deadly, even in mild temperatures. At just 70 degrees Fahrenheit or 21 degrees Celsius outside, a car's interior can reach 90 degrees in just 10 minutes, over 100 degrees in 25 minutes, and a dangerous 113 degrees in just 60 minutes. In the US, an average of 37 children die each year from pediatric vehicular heat stroke. The worst years on record were 2018 and 2019, each with 53 deaths. In 2024, Parker was the 12th of 39 children who died from heat stroke in hot cars. So far in 2025, as of recording, there have already been 4 child deaths. A 4-month-old in New Jersey on a 68-degree day, a 2-year-old in Maryland on a 72-degree day, a 6-year-old in California on a 99-degree day, a 1-year-old in New Mexico on an 88-degree day. The last 3 occurred in May alone, but the first one happened in March. This isn't just a summer issue. This is a year-round risk. A child's body heats up 3 to 5 times faster than an adult's. When their internal temperature raises to 101 to 104 degrees Fahrenheit, or 38 to 40 degrees Celsius, they may begin to experience heat exhaustion. Symptoms include muscle cramps, nausea, vomiting, fatigue, diarrhea, anxiety, or fainting. Above 104 degrees Fahrenheit or 40 degrees Celsius, this becomes heat stroke, leading to disorientation, confusion, rapid heartbeat, seizures, hallucinations, or unconsciousness. At 107 degrees Fahrenheit, or 41.7 degrees Celsius and above, cell damage and organ failure begin, which can rapidly result in death. Parker's temperature was recorded at 108.9 degrees Fahrenheit by the time help arrived. She never had a chance. Preventing these tragedies requires awareness and small, consistent habits. Never leave a child alone in a car, not even for a minute. Check the back seat every time you exit the vehicle. Ask your daycare or caregiver to call you if the child unexpectedly doesn't show up. Place a personal item in the back seat, like a phone, a purse, a briefcase, something that will trigger a backseat check. Use a visual cue, like a stuffed animal in the front seat when you have a child in the back. Keep keys and fobs out of the reach of children. Since 1998, over 230 children have died after entering a car on their own and then getting trapped. Teach kids to honk the horn until help arrives if they ever get trapped in a vehicle. If you see a child alone in a car, don't wait. Call 911. These deaths are preventable, and it's up to all of us to ensure that no more children lose their lives this way. If Parker's story moved you, I hope that you'll like, subscribe, or follow, and share this episode. It helps raise awareness, and it helps me keep telling these stories with the care they deserve. Parker deserved so much more. It breaks my heart that we know so little about little Parker. In every article, in every news segment, she's barely more than a name and an age. She was just 2 years old. Her mother called her perfect, and that's almost all the world has been told about her. In true crime, so often the focus lands on the person who caused the pain, their actions, their history, their trial. But we can't lose sight of who truly matters. Parker wasn't just the victim of a crime. She was a toddler, a daughter, a little girl whose future was stolen because of someone else's negligence, her father's negligence. Her life was short, but it was meaningful, and it mattered. And this is why I do what I do, because their voice matters. Since that original upload, several important updates have been released. Here's the first one, originally posted in August 2025. Christopher Scholtes is facing charges of first-degree murder in the death of his 2-year-old daughter, Parker. Earlier this year, prosecutors offered him a plea deal for second-degree murder, which would carry a maximum sentence of 25 years in prison, but he turned it down. Now, his attorney is requesting a new deal, saying they're developing new evidence that could justify a lighter punishment. The judge has scheduled a hearing for September 19th to discuss the matter. Prosecutors, however, aren't budging. One of them reportedly said, quote, "He had an opportunity with the plea from the panel that was open for a while. The negotiations were open. He rejected it. I really don't see how it will change any circumstances." Chris Scholtes is currently scheduled to go to trial in October. However, that date could get pushed back. His defense team has indicated that they plan to file a motion to continue, which, if granted, would delay the start of the trial. Next is the second update from September 2025, covering the denied trial delay, potential testimony issues, and more. The first-degree murder trial of Christopher Scholtes, the Arizona father accused in the death of his 2-year-old daughter Parker, will continue as scheduled, at least for now. Recently, the Scholtes defense team filed a motion to delay the start of the trial, citing the unavailability of 2 potential witnesses, including a psychologist. But the judge denied that request. And for now, the trial is set to begin October 27th. In another surprising development, the defense has said that Christopher may take the stand in his own defense. That's a risky move. Most defendants don't testify because it opens them up to intense cross-examination from the prosecution. His attorney, Mark Adair, also stated that they are gathering more information about other hot car deaths, suggesting that only one other case has resulted in a first-degree murder charge for a parent. He didn't clarify whether the circumstances in that case were similar to this one. He also stated that he is still hoping for a plea deal with the prosecution. Earlier this year, prosecutors offered a plea deal to Scholtes for second-degree murder, which would carry a maximum sentence of 25 years in prison, but he turned it down. According to Adair, quote, In Chris's case, there was not sufficient time to fully grieve the loss of his daughter, and then process the idea that he had to sign a deal that would require him to go spend the next 10 to 25 years in prison. The defense is now pushing for a psychiatric evaluation for Christopher, citing family concerns that he may have memory problems. The psychiatrist they want to use is reportedly an expert in cases of guilty except insane, a legal defense in Arizona that could result in him being committed to a psychiatric facility rather than serving prison time. Adair also revealed that Christopher's wife, Erica, does not want him to stand trial. He stated, quote, "Erica Scholtes is not pushing for the state to prosecute her husband. This family is dealing with the emotional toll and is now going to have to gear up for a trial in this case. And I don't know why the state has had to criminally subpoena Erica and the 2 children in this case. I don't think she's being very cooperative with the prosecution." In Arizona, spouses can sometimes be forced to testify against each other in court, especially in cases involving harm to a child, which appears to be the case here. Unless there are any additional delays, trial is set to begin on October 27th. I'll be following this case closely, including an upcoming hearing that will determine what evidence will be allowed at trial. And now, the most recent update. Just before trial, a plea deal was reached, and the case will not be moving forward in court. The first-degree murder trial of Christopher Scholtes, the Arizona father accused in the death of his 2-year-old daughter Parker, will not be moving forward as scheduled. A plea deal has been reached. On Wednesday, October 22, 2025, Christopher Scholtes pleaded guilty to an amended count of second-degree murder and 1 count of child abuse for Parker's death. Earlier this year, he rejected a previous plea deal. Since then, his legal team had continued trying to negotiate, but prosecutors seemed firm in moving forward with trial. At one point, the prosecution said, quote, "He had an opportunity, with the plea from the panel that was open for a while. The negotiations were open. He rejected it. I really don't see how it will change any circumstances." But something changed behind the scenes. This week, a new plea deal was offered and accepted. The Pima County Attorney's Office issued a formal statement saying, quote, "Today, Christopher Scholtes accepted a plea agreement and pled guilty to 1 count of second-degree murder and 1 count of intentional/knowing child under circumstance likely to cause death or serious physical injury. Under the terms of the plea, the sentences imposed by the judge are going to run consecutively, and Scholtes will face a sentencing range of 20 to 30 years of flat time, meaning he's not eligible for early release. He must serve the full sentence imposed by the court in the Department of Corrections for murdering P.S. on July 9th, 2024. This is yet another reminder to the community that the Pima County Attorney's Office will do everything we can to get justice for victims, especially those who are most vulnerable. At the time of this recording, the official sentencing hearing has not yet been scheduled. When the sentence is finalized, I'll post the details in the comments and update the description. If you want to stay up to date on this case and others like it, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications or follow the podcast so you don't miss any updates. I'd really love to hear your thoughts. Do you think a plea deal should have been on the table? Does 20 to 30 years in prison feel like an appropriate sentence? Is this justice for Parker? Let's talk about it in the comments. And if you found this update helpful or important, please give the video a like or leave a rating or review on podcast platforms. It really does help more than you know. Thank you for being here and for caring about this story. Parker's life mattered, and her voice still deserves to be heard. I'll see you in the next episode.